A place where the ground itself feels like it hides secrets, where justice is not clean, and survival often comes before truth. That is where everything begins to fall apart. Something is changing in the world of the Marshals. The rules that once held everything together are starting to crack. In episode 9, titled In Low Places, nothing feels safe anymore. Not the law, not the people enforcing it, and not even the ones trying to do what is right. Every step forward feels like it might pull someone deeper into danger. The story now moves into a darker zone where the Marshals are forced to face situations they were never prepared for. The kind of places they are heading into are not just physically dangerous, but also morally heavy. It is not only about catching criminals anymore, it is about surviving in a system where trust is fading fast. Luke Grimes' character stands right in the center of this storm. He is no longer just following orders, he is questioning them. Every decision he makes is starting to carry weight, and that weight is changing him. There is pressure coming from all sides, from the law he serves, from the people he is trying to protect, and from the enemies who are always one step ahead. As the episode builds, the Marshals are pulled deeper into a world that feels hidden from normal life. A world where deals happen in silence, where loyalty is always tested, and where the truth is never easy to find. The deeper they go, the harder it becomes to tell who is standing on the right side. What makes this moment even more intense is the growing sense that someone is always watching. Nothing feels random anymore. Every move seems planned. Every choice seems dangerous. The Marshals are not just chasing problems, they are walking straight into them. Luke Grimes' character begins to feel the cost of his role. He is not the same man he was at the start. The weight of responsibility is starting to change how he sees people, how he reacts, and how far he is willing to go. There is a quiet struggle building inside him, one that does not explode all at once, but slowly pulls him into a harder version of himself. The idea of low places is not just about location. It reflects where everyone is emotionally and morally. Some are sinking into doubt, some are falling into fear, and some are crossing lines they never thought they would cross. In this world, even good intentions can lead to bad outcomes. As tension rises, small decisions begin to matter more than ever. A single mistake could break everything. A single betrayal could change the entire direction of the story. The Marshals are no longer in control of the situation. They are reacting to it, trying to stay ahead of something that feels bigger than them. By the end of this build-up, one thing becomes clear without being directly stated. Nothing will remain the same after this. The path ahead is not about returning to normal. It is about surviving what comes next, even if it means losing pieces of themselves along the way. The situation around the Marshals has already reached a point where normal rules no longer feel enough. What once looked like a clear mission to bring order has slowly turned into something far more complicated. The ground beneath their work is shifting, and every new lead seems to pull them into deeper confusion instead of clear answers. Nothing is simple anymore, and every direction they take comes with risk. Before episode 9 begins, the pressure has already been building for a long time. The Marshals are dealing with rising threats that do not stay in one place. Crime is not just open and visible. It is organized, quiet, and spread out in ways that make it hard to control. What used to be straightforward enforcement now feels like trying to catch smoke with bare hands. Every attempt to fix one problem seems to create another. Luke Grimes' character has already been through enough to understand that this world does not reward quick decisions. He has seen how fast things can go wrong, even when the intention is right. The line between success and failure has become thinner, and every choice carries consequences that last longer than expected. There is no longer room for simple thinking. Everything demands patience, awareness, and a level of emotional control that is becoming harder to maintain. The Marshals, as a unit, are also feeling the strain. Trust is not as strong as it used to be. Some members begin to question orders, while others start to operate more independently. This creates tension inside the team, because when people stop fully trusting each other, coordination becomes fragile. Even a small misunderstanding can grow into something much bigger in the field. At the same time, outside pressure is increasing. The enemies they are dealing with are not random individuals anymore. There are signs of structure, planning, and coordination on the other side. This makes every move the Marshals take feel like it is being observed or predicted. It creates a constant sense that they are reacting instead of leading. Luke Grimes's character finds himself caught in this balance between duty and doubt. He still believes in what he is doing, but the path to justice no longer feels straight. There are moments where he has to pause and think longer than before, because rushing forward is no longer safe. He is starting to understand that the world he is in requires more than just strength or skill. It demands judgment in situations where there are no good outcomes. The emotional weight of previous events also continues to follow him. Decisions made earlier in the story are not staying in the past. They are affecting how people see him now, how he is treated within the system, and how much freedom he truly has in his role. Reputation and trust are becoming as important as action itself. Meanwhile, the environment around them is growing more unstable. Locations that once felt familiar now carry uncertainty. Interactions with informants, civilians, and even allies feel unpredictable. No one can fully tell who is reliable anymore, and that uncertainty adds pressure to every encounter. Even silence feels like it might be hiding something. As all of this builds together, the foundation of the Marshals' mission begins to feel stretched. They are still operating, still moving forward, but the structure that supports them is not as solid as it once was. Each new case tests that structure further, revealing weaknesses that were not visible before. By the time episode 9 approaches, the situation is no longer just about solving a case or stopping a threat. It has become something larger, where survival, truth, and loyalty are all connected. The Marshals are standing in a space where every decision matters more than ever, and where even the smallest shift can change everything that comes next. Episode 9 pushes the story into a point where the main conflict is no longer hidden in the background. It becomes the center of everything the Marshals are dealing with. The case they are working on stops feeling like a normal investigation and starts turning into something unstable, unpredictable, and deeply dangerous. What they thought they understood begins to break apart as new layers appear, each one more complicated than the last. The core problem is not just about catching someone anymore. It becomes about what has already been lost along the way. A key situation unfolds that forces the Marshals to act fast, but the information they are working with is incomplete and unreliable. Every lead feels like it might be real, but also might be a setup. This creates a constant tension where no decision feels fully safe. Luke Grimes's character is pulled directly into this conflict. He is no longer on the outside making observations. He is inside the situation, where every move matters immediately. The pressure is not just coming from the mission itself, but from the uncertainty around it. He is forced to question whether the path he is following is actually leading toward justice, or deeper into something that has already been controlled by someone else. A major part of the conflict comes from the idea of compromised trust. Someone connected to the case may not be who they appear to be. Information that was once considered reliable starts to show inconsistencies. The Marshals begin to realize that they may have been guided in certain directions on purpose. This creates a serious shift in how they approach everything. Instead of focusing only on action, they now have to focus on verification, suspicion, and careful judgment. At the same time, the situation outside their control is getting worse. The environment they are operating in is not neutral. It is active, responsive, and filled with hidden pressure. People connected to the conflict are making moves in silence, staying ahead of official action. This forces the Marshals into reactive decisions, where they often arrive slightly too late or slightly misinformed. Luke Grimes' character becomes central to the emotional weight of this conflict. He is placed in moments where he must decide quickly, but every option carries risk. If he moves forward, he may be walking into a trap. If he hesitates, he may lose the chance to stop something important. This constant pressure begins to shape how he thinks in real time. He is no longer reacting as a simple law enforcement officer, but as someone trying to survive inside a system that is no longer predictable. There is also a growing sense that the conflict is not isolated. It may be connected to larger forces or hidden networks that are not immediately visible. This idea changes the way the Marshals interpret every clue. Nothing is seen as small anymore. Even minor details could be part of something much bigger. This makes the investigation heavier because every piece of information carries potential consequences beyond what is immediately visible. As the conflict deepens, the team begins to feel the strain of constant uncertainty. Communication becomes more careful. Decisions are delayed longer. There is a visible shift from confidence to caution. This is not because they are weak, but because they are aware that one wrong assumption could collapse the entire operation. Luke Grimes' character also starts to feel isolated within this process. Even while working with others, there are moments where he must make judgment calls alone. These decisions are not just tactical, they are moral. He has to weigh what is right against what is necessary, and those two things are not always aligned anymore. The central conflict of Episode 9 is built on this instability. It is not a single enemy or a single event, but a web of pressure, deception, and uncertainty that keeps expanding. The Marshals are no longer dealing with a problem they can fully see. They are dealing with something that keeps changing shape, forcing them to adapt constantly, while never fully knowing what is coming next. Luke Grimes' character in Episode 9 is placed under a kind of pressure that does not come from a single event, but from everything stacking on top of him at once. His role as a Marshal is no longer just about following procedure or completing missions. It has become something heavier, where every choice feels personal, and every outcome carries emotional weight that stays with him longer than before. He is seen operating in a space where certainty is disappearing. The more he learns, the less clear things become. This creates a constant internal struggle. He cannot fully trust the information he receives, and he cannot fully ignore it either. This in-between state forces him to think differently, to slow down in moments where speed once felt natural, and to question instincts that used to feel reliable. There is also a visible change in how he carries responsibility. Earlier, decisions might have felt shared within the team, but now there are moments where the final call seems to rest more heavily on him. This shift does not happen in a loud way. It builds quietly through repeated situations where others look to him for direction, or where he is the one expected to step forward when things become uncertain. At the same time, the pressure from authority structures around him continues to grow. Expectations do not reduce just because conditions become harder. Instead, they often increase. He is expected to maintain control in environments where control itself is slipping. This creates a tension between what is expected of him and what is realistically possible in the field. Emotionally, there is a slow transformation happening in his character. He is not becoming reckless, but he is becoming more aware of how fragile the system around him is. This awareness changes how he interacts with people. He begins to read situations more carefully, often noticing small details that others might overlook. At the same time, this awareness also brings a kind of mental fatigue, because he cannot simply switch off what he sees anymore. Trust becomes a central issue in his personal arc. He has to decide not only who to believe, but also how much to believe in anyone at all. This affects how he communicates with others in the Marshals team. Conversations become more measured, responses become more controlled, there is less openness and more calculation in how information is shared. It is not about distrust in a dramatic sense, but about survival in a system where wrong assumptions can have serious consequences. There are also moments where his internal conflict becomes more visible through action. He may hesitate before making decisions that once would have been immediate. He may choose caution over speed, even when speed seems necessary. These small shifts show how much weight he is carrying mentally. The job is no longer just physical enforcement. It has become a constant process of judgment under pressure. What makes his arc more complex in this episode is that he is not just reacting to external threats. He is also reacting to the emotional cost of what he has already experienced. Previous events are not left behind. They influence how he sees new situations. Past outcomes shape present hesitation. This creates a layered mindset where every decision is filtered through memory, experience, and consequence. His leadership role, whether officially recognized or not, adds another layer. Others begin to rely on him in moments of uncertainty, which increases his responsibility even further. This reliance is not always spoken directly, but it is visible in behavior, in timing, and in how others respond when things go wrong. It creates a quiet pressure where he cannot easily step back, even when he might need to. At the same time, there is an internal push within him that still wants clarity. Despite everything becoming complicated, he still looks for a sense of direction that feels right. This does not always come from rules or orders anymore. It comes from instinct, experience, and personal judgment. But even those tools are being tested in this environment. By the end of this character focus, what becomes clear is that Luke Grimes' role is no longer defined only by action or duty. It is defined by endurance, the ability to continue making decisions in a world where answers are no longer clear and where every step forward carries uncertainty.